Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I get to work on a classic. This one is a Mitchell 320. It's a reel that was sent in by Bill. Bill's out in Colorado, and he says he's got a problem with the bail spring. Can I reset that for him? So we're going to show you how to do that, how to service the reel, and how to keep it running again for a long time to come. These are nice reels. They're not very complicated. They're not the same design as the Mitchell 300s. It's a little bit more of a simpler design, but you know, things fail, and when they fail you want to take the time to repair them, and once you repair them, well, these are good because simple is better in a lot of regards. So we're going to show you how to do that. We'll show you how to take this reel apart, put the new bail spring on, and get it back working again. Well, if you like to watch videos on how to service fishing reels regardless of the age of those reels, then I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I work on all kinds of fishing reels. This is an example of one of them. And well, when I work on these reels, you get to see side by side how to do it yourself so that you can keep your reels running too. Alright, so one of the things I like to do is take that side plate off and show you what it looks like. I encourage you to take pictures if you don't know the reel, so that, well, when you go to put it back together again, you put it back together again correctly. And here's an example of that. This is not a symmetrical crosswind block. This has a higher top end than it does the bottom end. That's very easy to flip over and get incorrect on the way back in. So if you take a picture of the reel before you start removing any pieces and parts, you're going to benefit from that. It's going to save you time and energy, and well, give you a reference point as to what these reels look like. And well, when you go to put it back together again, if you get stuck, you'll be able to figure it out. Here's a pin that holds your crosswind block to your axle shaft. I will remove that. When I remove my pieces and parts, I put them into a parts tray. I recommend that you have a strategy for dealing with your pieces and parts before you start taking them off, because, well, among other things, it is always nice to know where those parts are when it's time to reinstall. And if you're just kind of haphazardly laying them to and fro on your bench, well, bad things happen. Things like having the parts fall into places that you can't find them, and having them get damaged. Alright, I removed the axle shaft and the spool. You don't need to take the spool off when you're servicing that. It's kind of a straight up spool. Not much going on there, but well, I'm going to put that assembly in there. Then I'm going to remove my crosswind block. And I like to work, this simply could have been replaced the bail, but I like to work on these with that rotor removed. It's just easier. And by the way, if you're going to do the work, you might as well service the reel. There's no sense just kind of coming in and fixing an immediate problem, then leaving dirt and old grease and the like in there for the to fail in the future. Okay, right now I'm looking for my little Mitchell tool. I may or may not find it. And it's a deep socket with a screwdriver through on it. Kind of gives you all of the things you need. First thing we're going to do is remove the spool, and you need to notice this is a cover. There's a lever underneath there that's going to act as your catch. So you want to be careful when you do this. Remove that nut into the parts tray. I'm going to hold my finger on that for a moment. And you can see here that we have a trip lever here that's going to move in and out. There's a hole in your bail that's going to engage with that trip lever. You can see kind of how it's setting here, but this is way out of sorts, if you will, out of the ordinary. So when it comes this way, that will kick in there and trip, and then you'll have this bottom lever here. It's going to kind of push it back. I'll show you how to set that one up as well, because you'll notice that there is a stud here that needs to be aligned with. So that piece is going to go this way on the reel, just like that. Sit inside there. All right, let's get this off I always like to work on bales when I do this off the reel. Take pictures here, just in case you pop that spring. We may need to pop that spring anyway, but if you do, rest assured it's not the end of the world. Okay, I'm going to take this off. We have our full bale. We have a spring that's become kind of buggered up there. Bill did give me the new spring. So we're going to get this one set. I'll show you how to do that. On this reel there's two offsets. We're going to have to guess. Okay, I'm going to choose the far slot. I just think that one's probably going to make sense. You want to get into a way neutral position. So this would normally sit like this. You want to just take all the tension off of it and load that spring tag into the hole. Remember, we're way out of position now. Don't worry about that at the moment. Let's bring our screw in. Once you have that screw in, be careful. You need a little rock and play in this, but bring it up and over that piece that you've retracted. And now tighten down on that screw. So what we should have is this backing up against that. When we go to flip, we've got the bale in a normal position now. When we go to flip, it should push that retractor in there. And then when you come over here with that bump out, it's going to pull that back in, release your bale for firing. Okay, let's set the rotor aside for a moment and let's deal with the two gears. You can push through on your pinion gear to pull that out. Pull out your main gear or push it out. We'll just do a quick case cleanup. If you've got an issue here with your anti-reverse and you're trying to figure out where your spring loads, it's a flat spring that loads in the base of the case here and in the notch of your anti-reverse dog here. Let's show you how that works, because this is in, you want it out when we go to set it. I'm just going to hold my finger on it. See how it bows and how it pulls that off. All right, quick little cleanup here. Same thing with the main gear. Let's clean the old greases off of that. You can spray down that main gear with some penetrating oil just to loosen up that last little bit. Find a hard brush, pull through on that to clean up the teeth. You can see all the dirt that's pulling out of that. Same thing on the back. Make sure that the back of the main is clear. We can go ahead and reinstall that. I'm going to take the grease brush, put some on the axle shaft, on the teeth, the main gear. And for this, I'm using fishing reel grease. I'm using Penn Precision reel grease. I recommend that you use fishing reel greases and oils on all of your fishing reel projects. That's the only thing I ask of you. We're going to take our gear and reset that in the case. Pinion gear is clean. We can do the same thing here. We can pull through on the teeth just to make sure if there is any dirt in there that it gets cleaned away. Again, we'll take that. And this is an interesting piece to note here. On your pinion gear, you're going to see that there is a hole here. Right there. That is where that point from the set arm needs to rest on your when you reinstall the rotor. Let's take our pinion gear and put a little bit of grease on that if I haven't done that already. I've been kind of involved in a couple of things here. Push in firm on your main gear, get that stud out of the way, bring this up and set that in. Now find your hole here and we can reinstall that rotor. You're looking for the stud here. Kind of the best way to do this is to you're going to have to run it by your eyes. I guess we're going to have to put it in this way. Okay, that's set properly. Bring your rotor over and make sure that you mesh now the point, which is dead center on this, with the slot in that little carrier. There you go, that's done. Bring your cover over. Of course, if there's two ways to put it, you can put it upside down, which is what I just did. Let's flip that over. That's going to hold that spring from popping. Bring our rotor nut on now. And make sure you thread this by hand, because sometimes it's real easy to get a false start on that and it'll start cross stripping. Then you're really going to have a problem. All right. Tighten that down. We need to put the screw on the opposite side here for that bail. Piece of part out of the way. Spin that now. Make sure that it spins the way it should. You'll see everything working here. That piece of tape. We've cleaned the shaft. Light coating of grease goes in. We also have to put the crosswind block on. We've cleaned that. Let's put some grease in there. The slot here goes on the stud on the main gear over here. And remember what we said when we started taking this off, that it has an offset there, the bump faces up. Bring your axle shaft through, find the hole, bring the pin in. And of course, when you're doing this, it's easy if you have a parts tray or a parts strategy. All right, put the handle on. We'll get an inside look at how this works before we put the side plate back on. Handles on. This is how your reel works. Okay, most importantly, let's test the bail. You should see it come in, set. It does. Comes over and flips. There you go. That's it. Let's put that last piece on. Let's get this built back out to Bill, and wish him good luck fishing with his reel now that it has the bail spring set properly and the internal cleaned up, greased, and ready to go fishing again. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I want to take a moment to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, EMT, all of the folks that work to keep us out of harm's way. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to encourage you again to subscribe. And if you do subscribe, please use that notification button and like this video. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Loving that click of the anti-reverse. Loving the idea that the reel has a second chance. Have a great day.